Hi, this is Stu and welcome to our little injury series. And today we're going to talk about neck pain and a little bit to do with the upper back, because we looked at the low back in another one of the videos and the QL and the low back in general. But also people experience a little bit of discomfort in the upper back. And I call it discomfort because it's that sort of generally achy feeling when quite often when they're doing sitting for meditation or when they're sitting to do pranayama, that this sort of ache between the shoulder blades starts to come on and makes the whole experience a bit miserable. For me, a lot of that sort of stuff comes from the weight of the head being pulled forward and our general position of seating when we're actually going to be doing these sort of meditation, pranayama, that sort of thing. So what you want to do is make sure you have a comfortable seat, but the big key is that you get your hips higher than your knees. So if you're sitting in some sort of cross-legged thing, but your knees are up here and your hips are down here, then what tends to happen after a while is that you get some sagging in the low back, the upper back curves a little bit, the weight of the head comes forwards, and then all these muscles on the back are working like hell to try and get you somewhat straight, and they just get tired and they start aching. So the big key to it is to get your hips above your knees, and that might mean sitting on a bolster, sitting on a cushion, or however much you need. Even if you're in full Padmasana, it's worth sitting on something that's maybe only not even an inch thick, or even in metric terms, because I'm English, I talk in inches, but nobody else knows what the hell we're talking about. So maybe a centimeter or 2 centimeters thick, okay? Just to give you that little bit of a raise. And what that does is it introduces a natural curve back into the lumbar spine and allows that fluidity to move up the spine until you balance your head a little bit nicer on the top. And that should make a massive difference to the comfort of your upper back, okay? So with neck issues in general, unless we do something particularly nasty, and something has already popped in my head, so I'll come back to this in a minute, quite often I see a lot of the neck stuff we experience in yoga actually not coming from the yoga itself, but coming from our everyday lives, So many of us work on computers, particularly on laptops, have smartphones now, all this sort of stuff, where we've got our head down, looking at whatever is in front of us. And that weight of the head again creates a lot of tension in the neck. So the first thing to do before you even get on the mat is sort your life out and get off of all your devices. And if you can't get off of them, get them up. So get your laptop screen up. But of course, then you're going to need a separate keyboard, When you're looking at your smartphone, try and get it up here, which might mean supporting the elbow or something, but try and get out of this habit of all this head down stuff, because it's a complete disaster for your posture, God knows what the next generation is going to look like, because, we're bringing up our kids with these phones and everything, laptops and iPads, and everything is down here. By the time they're 60, they're going to be in like a C shape, I think, just like scraping their nose on the floor. So really just for your own health, before you even get on the mat, deal with outside of life, okay? All right, so now we're on the mat and we find that our neck is achy a little bit in things. So first thing is making sure that we're giving ourselves space. We don't want to be doing any of this in the practice, okay? So drawing the shoulders down, giving ourselves space, okay? If we want to do some gentle neck exercises to just release out of those tensions that we've created in our work, then we can just do simple hanging sideways and this way, and then forwards, bringing my chin towards my chest and just holding it there. I'm doing this in fast time. You want to be actually holding those for 5-10 breaths. But what you don't want to be doing is these rotational elements, when I'm circling all the way around. That's not a natural movement for the neck. You can rotate, and you can rotate, and you can drop, and you can go back, and you can go sideways, but don't go all the way around, It's not particularly nice for the neck itself, okay? So that will all help you just loosen up those areas. So then how do we create stresses on our neck in the practice, apart from these sort of times when we're lifting our shoulders up, okay? Quite often it's headstand, shoulder stand, yeah? So shoulder stand, if we're not doing it the sort of Iyengar way, which is having blankets to raise the shoulders up, then it can be that we create too much of a dramatic angle change between our upper body and where our head is, yeah? We're not really designed to have our neck come out at 90 degrees relative to our upper body, yeah? With our head, if we span me up and place me the other way, yeah? So particularly if you've got neck issues already going on, really investigate some of these kinder ways of doing shoulder stand, which would be using blankets. Obviously you need to be very active and actually pressing into your shoulders and raising. We don't want to feel your spine pressing into the mat. These are all things that you probably know about already. But just, I would say, explore other options for doing shoulder stand and whether you actually really need to be as straight as you might think you are, particularly if you're feeling it here, yeah? Of course, from shoulder stand, sometimes we then go into Halasana, yeah? And if we're not open enough in the hamstrings, yeah, to actually hinge a little bit at the hips to bring the feet down, and we still want to get our feet down, then what tends to happen is the whole body comes with the legs, which is increasing even more strain on the back of the neck. So again, if you're a little bit tight in the hamstrings, don't expect to get your feet on the floor. So maybe put something there that you could bring your feet down to, which would stop you having the tendency to want to bring them all the way down. So really investigate as how much of this neck flexion you're actually doing, particularly in a weight-bearing way. Now, I'm probably going to upset some people here straight away, but there's a posture at the end of the primary series called Setu Bandhasana, where if you don't know what it is, well then that's good, don't bother to find out what it is. If you do this particular posture, which is with your feet in this sort of position, and then you're going back here, and then we're arching up, and then we're lifting up, yeah? Your neck is in extended position, and then basically you're loading or weight bearing, yeah? I really haven't seen that many practitioners where it looks safe, yeah? Most of the time the body is too flat, and then the head is tipped back, angled back, and we get that very sharp change of direction in the neck, you know? And these cervical vertebrae, if you look at them relative to the lumbar vertebra, they're very small, they're tiny, they're delicate. So we don't really want to be loading that area, yeah? So if you feel you have to do it, then look at how you're doing it. Maybe don't take your hands off the floor, don't cross them here, keep as much weight out of your neck as you are. If you're in the situation where you don't really need to do it, then I would consider not doing it, yeah? Because that's another one that I feel really puts strain on the neck, yeah? The next thing is when we do headstand, yeah? Headstand, we are bracing behind our head. Well, again, if we haven't got enough opening in the hamstrings to go up with straight legs, but we're trying anyway, then what we can be doing is bracing on the back of our head and creating a lot of work in the neck as well. So all those sorts of things, you can always feel it, you know? You can feel when you're taking too much strain in the neck. A little bit like any of the other body parts, but sometimes we put up with it here because, oh, it hasn't got enough range of motion. You know, don't go there, yeah? It is quite delicate, and you don't want to land up with long-term neck injuries, yeah, or things that drag on. So, first of all, sort out your outside life before you get on the mat. Next, keep your shoulders away from your ears, create lots of space, and then try and work on not taking too much pressure into your neck when you're doing some of these postures. And then your neck will be that much happier for you. Good. Okay, I think this is the last in our little series, so this is wrapping this one up. And then we're going to be looking at openings and how we can create these movements that I talked about. You know, I'm saying, okay, create more hip openness, more external rotation of the hips, but how are you going to do it outside of the practice? Well, we'll tell you that, okay? And also, we wanted to give you the chance of, you know, we've done this little series, but there's probably loads of questions you've got, or loads of specific issues, maybe like sit bone pain, or or somebody's got an injury to their sternum because they were being adjusted in Supta Kamasana or whatever. So if you've got particular injuries or issues that you would like us to do a little video about, that you think you know loads of people that had a similar sort of thing, then let us know and we'll do these individual ones looking at specific topics. Good. Okay, hope you enjoyed this series and see you again soon.